is up, guys? So, a little while ago, I remember filming a Starbucks video in which I said, you know what's one of my biggest fears? It is being stuck in a drive-through and something happening and I need to drive off, but I'm stuck because you have like this median or sidewalk just blocking you and you have cars in front of you and behind you. It gave me the idea to talk about things that I feel like we don't think about being scared of, that I think we should be scared of. However, unlikely it may be that such a thing happens. So this is going to be the official fears video. To continue on, as I mentioned, one of my biggest fears is being stuck in places like elevators and drive-throughs. Every time I go through the drive-through and it's jam-packed, I get a weird sensation of, maybe it's claustrophobia, but usually what makes me feel uneasy is if I have to speed off, I don't have anywhere to go. I don't have a way of getting out of here without possibly damaging my car. And that really bothers me. But it's not like I live with an insane fear over it. It's just something that occurs to me on occasion. But nothing has happened, so that means that nothing's gonna happen, right? Another thing that I think about very often when I drive is if the day is windy and I'm driving by a stop sign or just any kind of traffic sign, I always fear that it's very possible that the wind is strong enough and the ground is saturated to where the violent wind can somehow uproot this sign and then it just shoots out like a projectile and it hits my car. It could hit the windshield, it could hit the hood, it could hit anything. But I always think about how that can happen, right? It's one of those things that, can you really see it coming and have a fast enough reflex to like do something about it, or are you just condemned to get hurt by it or your car to get beat up by it? Another thing that I sometimes think about is when I'm headed to the grocery store, whether it's on my way to or coming out of the grocery store, I always think, what if for some reason you get a random ass sinkhole just open right in front of you and you see your car being swallowed? Or you are headed to the grocery store and then a sinkhole just blip opens up and you see the grocery store being swallowed by the earth. That doesn't have to happen, right? This is going to be a particularly disturbing one for me. Can you imagine it being nighttime? It's dark and quiet and serene, and you're like getting ready to roll up in bed, and all of a sudden you hear just a rain of metal, loud as heck, just screeching, whether it be in your backyard or in your driveway, just anywhere. You step out and you realize that this is a plane that has crashed, and more than likely the reason it crashed and there wasn't an explosion is because this mug ran out of gas. And I feel like this is something that actually happened in the past, because I don't think I could have individually dreamed up this fear, because it's not something you're thinking about. You're thinking about planes as, oh, they're way up there, they're going really fast, they do very well about avoiding populated areas. So why on God's green earth would I have a plane just crash on my backyard? But I always wonder that, would I be able to hear this giant object as it creeps toward the surface when it's crashing and it doesn't have any fuel, so the engines are running and you cannot hear it coming at all? Also, another random thing that I sometimes think about is when I go to restaurants, this has happened twice. I ordered water and it turns out that I was giving a fucking Sprite. So I think that whoever was supposed to give me my order mistook the Sprite that belonged to another person's order with my water and then gave it to me. I understand how it could be very easy to make that mistake, but then again, the lids are supposed to have little things that you can push down and tell if it's cola, diet, or whatever. I don't think it says water, but it has something to serve as a little bit of an identifier. Imagine that, but for some reason, someone decides that, say you're at home and they're dispensing vinegar in a cup or in a glass that looks very similar to yours, and then you don't realize it for some reason. You're not breathing in, or maybe you're congested or something, and then you start drinking this thinking that it's water, but it turns out to be fucking vinegar. I don't know why, but I fear that so much. But fortunately, I always have designated containers for things. I'm not that person who like randomly puts things in plastic containers and I don't label them in any way. I think it's the science girl in me. I used to want to go to school for science and I always took that so seriously, and it makes sense to me. Just because I'm at home doesn't mean that I'm going to get comfortable. But for real, sometimes I think, let me sniff this water just to make sure it is what I think it is. Also, imagine that you are a pedestrian and you are crossing a bridge, but for some reason, there is a car that just somehow swerves and it hits you. And you couldn't see it coming because no tires were screeching, just nothing. But the danger is not even when you're a pedestrian. It could be that you're crossing this bridge and incoming car just hits you from like the rear, and then it forces your car to sort of spin, and then sure, you survive the first hit, but the problem is that another car that's behind you may hit you and then push you over the bridge. So you're crashing down onto the whatever's below, let it be another motorway or a lake, a river, just anything. But if it's another road, you get hit like 3 times or 4 times, because you get hit the first time, that makes you spin out of control. Then the next person may not be able to dodge you, so they hit you and they push you to the next level, and then you feel that hit, and on top of that, incoming traffic from that road just hits you too. And I'm so aware of that whenever I'm driving over a bridge. It's not like it interrupts me, like I stop being peaceful and I'm nothing but a ball of paranoia. But occasionally I just get that thought, especially at nighttime, which I don't tend to drive at night very much, but sometimes there's that random weirdo who is driving with their headlights off. And I'm thinking, how am I supposed to be able to see this person and possibly dodge them if they don't have reflectiveness when it comes to their car? Not even that. Do you guys ever drive down a very narrow road and you see an incoming car and you're thinking, if this person decides to just randomly get in your lane and then hit you head on, would you be able to react to that? Would you have time to react to that? Does that happen? Has that ever happened? Is there a crazy person that just gets in a car and they decide, shit, I'm done with life? So they decide that the next person that's driving by, they're just gonna get in the way and get hit on purpose? I really hope it doesn't happen. But when the road is narrow, I just think about how much of a vulnerable space I'm in. The lane is barely wide enough for your car to fit in, and you're in this road where it's almost nothing but wilderness. Would somebody hear you? Would somebody see you? Is it too late in the day or at night that you happen to be on this road because work forces you to or something? Those crucial moments, no one lives there, nobody hears anything, nobody drives by there with frequency, so you just spend hours there just unknown. And finally, another thing that I can think of that would stress me out, most of them have to be with me being on the road, just driving. But can you imagine that your car breaks down and it is mad storming outside? Or you get in a wreck or something and you have to get stuff sorted with the next person, but it's raining so violently that you almost don't want to even do it. But your car may also just break down and you're alone and there's a storm. Or it is extremely sunny, deserted, and it's over 100 degrees outside. And you just have to walk through this without air conditioner, without an umbrella to like protect you from the sun's rays, without a hat or anything. That would be the end for me because I don't do well with the heat. Well, there you guys have it. Hopefully you all, I don't want to say enjoyed, but hopefully you all benefit from me expressing this. I don't even know what kind of emotion the viewer could attach to this video, but I thought I would bring this up since it seemed like one person was interested in me creating such a topic. So it also gave me the idea while I was stuck in the drive-thru. And you guys let me know, what are your fears, or are you guys just courageous folks and you don't suffer from like anxiety, or just you're not fucked in the head so you don't be thinking things like this. Let me know if you have horrors of your own that are unjustified. Let me know if the things I have said are actually more common than I think, and feel free to let me know where you found out or if you've witnessed something, because I don't have the guts to Google this myself. I don't think I'm prepared for that info. But yeah, you guys, that's my list. If I come up with maybe 10 more things that I can think of, I may do a part 2 to this topic. But for now, I really think that's it. I'm not really a fearful person. My fears tend to be me as a responsible person being involved in a situation where I don't have a solution for. That's the stuff that may stress me out a little bit. But outside of that, I tend to be pretty cool, calm, chill, collected, just going through life. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you soon.